That's very convenient.
Yeah, it's very convenient. Good morning. We're learning as Chutz Refuah Shleima Filan Chaya Baserach and for Meir and Cyril Peril. We're on Daf Chav Gimel Amid Aleph, 7 lines from the bottom. Boyer of Zera, which is similar to the first question that we had. We had said a question, question of Rav Zera, where someone brought two types of birds, Oila, Bnei Yaina and Tyrim, which are, there's an intermediate stage that they're neither young birds or older birds. And one of those types, the Tyrim have to be older birds and the Bnei Yaina have to be younger. Now we're going to talk about the same thing, but in the context, as we had mentioned yesterday, of a keves and an ayil, which is a lamb and the ayil is a ram. A keves is a young sheep, which is called a lamb, and an ayil is an older sheep, which is a ram. So, boy Rav Zera, he said, I'm accepting upon myself to bring an oila of nadava as a donation of an ayil, of either an older sheep or a keves or a lamb. Behavi palgas. Instead, he brought a animal that is right on the cusp, right in between them, where a keves is up to 1 year old is a keves, and from 13 months and up is an ayil, is a ram. So that 13th month is a palgas. It's right in between. Wow. So what's the din? Has he been yaitza his nadav or not? He did something that was neither an ayil or a keves, but we're not sure exactly why it's not an ayil or keves. It's going to be the same question like we said before. Is the palgas a entirely different entity, neither an ayil or a keves, or is it just a suffix of which one it is? In which case he was yaitza his donation. He said, I'm going to bring ayil or keves. He brought one of them. We just don't know which one, but he was yaitza. Or if it's a different barrier, then he wasn't yaitza either. Sagt Gemara, I'll leave the Rabbi Yochanan like Tibayalach. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's not going to be a question. Amar Beriyahav. According to Rabbi Yochanan, this palgus is a entity of its own, and therefore he was not yaitza. It's not. Where do we see that? Hikrivai. If someone made such a donation where he said, "I'm going to bring either an ayil or a keves," and he was makriv a palgus, maybe olav nichse ayil. He has to bring the nesachim of an ayil. He's not potter from the chiyuv of when you bring a keves or even though he's brought a palgus, which was not yaitza, his as we're going to see, ve'ein oila loy mizivchai. It's not going to be oila as that he brought his carbon, but he still has to bring, according to Rabbi Yochanan, he has to bring the nesachim that go along with it. So what kind of zvachim does he? What kind of nesachim does he bring? He brings the nesachim of a ayah which are greater than that of a keves. Rabbi Yochanan. Why does he do that? L'rabas es hapileges. Rabbi Yochanan says because the Torah we have a riboy that tells you that if someone brought a pileges, which is not yaitza his chiyuv of either a keves or an ayil, because obviously Rabbi Yochanan is saying that a pileges is a barrier b'fnei atzmai. The Torah is marber for us that he has to bring the nesachim of a ayil. So Rashi explains. Let's see the Rashi. It's a little bit of a complicated Rashi or a cheshbon. Am Rabbi Yochanan. Minolan the maybe love niska ayil shel shnei esroinim u'shlish zahin yayin. How do you know that this pileges, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you bring the nesachim of ayil, which is shnei esroinim of soiles and shlish zahin of yayin? The chseva pash nesachim b'shlach l'cha anoshim alayil le'echad l'rabas pileges b'nechazim alolu. It's coming to be marba that the pileges brings the nesachim. With the extra kroler buye, from the fact that the Torah is telling you, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that you must bring it. Shema mina kasav Rabbi Yochanan, the Tanakama the Amar ein oilolay mizivchay mishum deberyu. That which the Tanakama says it's not going to be yaitza his carbon is not because of a suffix, but it's because it's a buried bifnei atzihu inyan nesachim rachmana rabya. And as far as nesachim, the Torah was marbet. The sveika havel who, if it was just be a suffix, loy mirbayikra. The Torah should not have to tell you that you should bring the nesachim of an aisle. The kivin the shema aisle who. The Shema Ayel, since it might be an Ayel, Pshita the boy Yasuya Nichse, Ayel. Because then certainly he should bring the Nichse Ayel, Vesnuya. And he should make a Tanai, the Ayel who Lehavi Didei. If it's an Ayel, it should be the Nusachim of Ayel. Be Kevesu, and if it's Taka Keves, because we're Mesopik, whether a Pilagas, a Palgas is a Ayel or a Keves, Ye Heter Hayeser Nedava. The extra over what what a ayil nesachim are over that of a keves, that will be an adava. Shem misnav nesachim below carbon, because you can't bring nesachim without a carbon. I mean, menachas perik basra. V'avav tani ein misnav and lugecha below beis. Hey, elishlish you kuri nechse keves yavash you kuri nechse ayil. Yeah, hacha ki agam b'hadi achrini carbon. Over here, it's not a problem. But the point is, he's saying from the fact that Rabbi Yochanan is saying that you need a pasuk to tell you that you bring the nesachim of ayil when he brought a carbon, that it's not clear whether it's a whether it's a ayil or a keves. The pasuk doesn't have to tell you that you bring the nesachim of ayil. I would have said you just bring the nesachim of ayil as a backstop. Because you can make a tanai, you'll bring the nesachim of ayil. I'll say if this I guess palgas is a ayil, then I brought the correct nesachim. And if it's a keves which needs a smaller nesachim, then it should be a nesachim for the keves, and the extra should be an adava. For the fact that Rabbi Yochanan said there's a pasuk that tells you that you bring nechse ayil, vaystates a beria b'fnei atzmai, and otherwise I would have thought that you don't bring anything at all. So Zaktamar Kiti Bayalach Aliba de Barpada. This question of Rav Zeris about what it's so obviously according to Rabbi Yochanan it's a ber b'fnei atzmai, the fact that we require a pasuk. But the question is according to Barpada, the Amar Maisi Umasni. He says that Taka you bring the nesachim and you make a tanai. So then the question is, what is a tanai? I mean an ayel v'kaves masna v'beryoloi masna. Do we say you make a tanai? If it's an ayil, then this, excuse me, these nesachim are the proper nesachim for the ayil. And if it's a keves, it's going to be whatever's extra in the dava. But the beria masa, you don't make a tanai in case it's a beria, because according to this first tzad, Barpada holds that it's not a beria, it's just a suffix. He makes a three-way tonight. He says, if this is, he's not sure if it's a berry or not. So he'd make a tonight. If it's a ayel, then this is the proper nesachim. If it's a keves, then the extra should be in a dava. And if it's a berry b'fnei atzmai, then the whole thing should be in a dava. The amari berry havi kula in a dava. So Gemara in Barpada teku einachanami. It's not clear in Barpada whether it's just a question of suffix or if it's a question of possibly burial. It's interesting that Rashi says, "Oy dilma beberia na mistafkele Barpada dilma berihu v'gabi nesachim maisi umasdi beria havila havi kula nedava gabi b'inami loy nafik the dilma lav ayav loy kevesu." It sounds like. It sounds like the way I described it, that it's, he says, nami masna, in addition to being masna about keves or ayil. But I would think, I guess the point is, this is a little different than the berry that we said before. He's mesupik if it's a berry. He's not saying it's for sure a berry. Right? In the previous Shiloh, we had said it's a question of it's a barrier or if it's a suffix. Over here, we're saying about Pada, it's a barrier, could be not. Boy Rav Zera, Someone who said, I'm mikabel on myself, we've come across the carbon taida many times. If someone wants to give thanks, he went away on a trip and he made it back safely. He's made it from the long desert, or he was sick and he was healed. So he brings a carbon, an animal, as well as 40 loaves of bread, of which I think 10 are chametz and 30 are matzah. But a total of 40 loaves, some chametz and some matzah. And he said, he said, I'm mekabel on myself from chametz or from matzah. V'hevi seir. And instead of bringing either chametz or matzah, once again, he brought from an intermediate stage. As we're going to see, it's a machlokes what this intermediate stage is. Mahu. What's the din? So he brought something intermediate. Was he yaitza either one of them, or is it a suffix whether it's chametz or matzah, or is this seir a barrier b'fnei atzma? So seir deman. What is this seir that we're talking about? This intermediate stage of dough that's hasn't leavened sufficiently to be matzah, to be chametz, but it's still on the road to leavening, that it's no longer matzah. So it's a machlekes. Isay the Rameir. If it's a seir of Rameir, Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, meaning it's the case of seir that Rameir describes as seir, and we're going in Rabbi Yehuda. Matzam al yasi. The Rabbi Yehuda Rameir chametzi. Let's see Rashi, who explains what the shita saw. Seir zakt Rashi. Sheyatza mechal matzal chal chametz leibar Rameir Rabbi Yehuda pligi be'elu oivin. The Rameir haviseir b'achsafas panim. As soon as the surface of the dough starts changing color, so that takes it out from being matzah, from being unleavened, but it's not yet chametz. Va'afilu ein shom sadak, even if it hasn't yet solidified the surface of the dough to a point where it starts having cracks in it. But if it does get cracks, according to Rameir, if someone would have such chametz on matzah, on Pesach, it would be already considered chametz, and he'd be chayiv kares for eating it. The seir v'achas panim, but if seir is where just the surface of the dough changed color, I mean, in Bereishei Eloheim, the Rameir chayiv malchus. According to Rameir, when it has this level of seir, that its surface change, according to Rameir chayiv malchus. For Rabbi Yehuda, Islay Trey Kuli. Rabbi Yehuda has two kulas in this. He holds that it's not seir when the color changes. He says it only becomes seir when it starts cracking. So in that sense, Rabbi Yehuda's more makel than Rameir. And the second kula of oid kula achriti de bahak kari Rabbi Yehuda seir lemechayv malchus. He says that once it becomes seir, if someone eats it on Pesach, he's not going to be chayiv malchus on it. He's not. Rameir had said seir yechayiv malchus. You're chayiv kares because it's not fully chametz, but you are chayiv malchus. Yehuda says, first of all, it first becomes seir at a later stage when it gets the cracks, which is later than the changing of the color. And secondly, it's not even chayiv malchus. It's just going to be pre-chametz. It's not. It's no longer kasher per matzah, but it's not yet chametz to be chayiv malchus. So zaktimah. So again, what seir deman? Which seir are we talking about? This question: someone who promised to bring chametz or matzah as a taida, and he brought the seir. What's the din? He said the Rameir. It's the Rameir seir, meaning the seir that what Rameir calls seir, which is the earlier stage where the color of the dough changed. Rabbi Yehuda matzah al yasi, and it's going in Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that that's not yet. It's not yet at all chametz, so it's kosher matzah. So he should be yaitza because he brought matzah. Either Rabbi Yehuda or Rameir, and if it's Rabbi Yehuda's seir where it already got cracks, the Rameir chametzu. According to Rameir, it's fully chametz, and l'chayre it's not. Rameir says that if it just changed color, he's going to be mechayiv malchus, but he'll hold that if it got cracks, it's full-fledged chametz, and he's going to get kares on it. The either Rameir or Rameir. If it's Seir or Meir, where it changed color, that according to Meir, if he eats it on Pesach, he'll be Chayiv Malkus, Midalaki Ele Chametzu. For the fact that he says you get Malkus, it means Midaraisa it's Chametz. He just holds that there's a Kuludik Einish, but it's already Chametz, so you should also, again, in our case, you should be Yaitza his Nadava. Ella de Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda. We're talking about where it got cracks, according to Rabbi Yehuda. And we're going according to Rabbi Yehuda that says that once it gets cracks, you don't even get malchus in it. Why is it that you don't get malchus, that this sayer doesn't get any einish? Sveika have v'nafik mimanav. Shach, do we say because sayer is a suffix of whether it's matzah and chametz, and therefore this person who had promised to bring chametz or matzah for a taida was yaisem manav shach. I don't bury who will nafik, or maybe it's in a different entity. It's neither chametz nor matzah, and therefore he was not yaitz as nadava. Correct the Gemara. We have a more basic question on this. How could you say that there's a question of whether he's yaitza by bringing this as a taida? Maybe taida v'lachma. Someone who says I'm makabel on myself to bring the breads of a taida. Obviously, everyone knows, even though we didn't know this till we started learning kachim, but back in the day, everybody knew that if you say you bring a taida, that obligates you not just to bring some bread of either chametz or matzah, but you have to bring the whole kit and caboodle. You've got to bring a carbon, you got to bring an animal, as well as you have to bring all 40 loaves, consisting of both the chametz and the matzah. So how could it be that this person who said that I'm going to bring lachmei taida of either chametz or matzah, he's going to be yaitza by bringing something that's either chametz or matzah. He has to bring everything. So if we don't know what it is, he's not going to be yaitza until he brings all the rest of it. So if we don't know if it's the 10 of chametz, he's going to have to bring, let's say it's a 10 of chametz, he has to bring the other 30 of matzah. And if it's 10 of the matzah, he has to bring another 20 of matzah plus the 10 of chametz. Or like the truth is, it's 10 esroinim of matzah. Even though it's more loaves, it's less. It's each loaf is smaller. So I mean, this is a question about how it could be yaitza just by bringing 10. But in any case, the Gemara asks, maybe taida ulachma. Even the chayiv lebe taida v'lachma haliyadai gavri chametz sudalaisi matzah imatzu dalaisi chametz. He doesn't know what he was yaitz. He doesn't know if he was yaitz or chametz, then he still has to bring matzah. So he brought matzah and he has to bring chametz. So what does this help? How could it be, even if you say it's a suffix, he still wasn't yaitza with this his nedava, with this offering? He said he didn't say I'm bringing a lachmei taida for myself. He says I'm being menadiv the lechem for my friend who's bringing a taida. Doesn't have, what does it make a difference? Still, the person who had to bring this carbon, the one who was actually bringing the taida, he doesn't know if his friend who decided to donate for him, if it was chametz or matzah, so therefore he's going to have to bring everything anyway. So he didn't. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Hello. No, come right in. Oh, it's not open. The front door is not open. Okay, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. I'll be back in 1 second. Apologize. So Zak Gemara, the question of Rav Zera, the Iboy, of whether he was Yaitza by bringing a Seir where he had said, I'm going to be Chametz Matzah, was the person said, I'm going to add on an extra Taida an extra lechem to my friend's taida. I'm going to bring. It's not. I'm not bringing it to be yaitza his chayva. I'm just adding it on. I feel like I feel very good. I'm so happy my friend got better. I'm going to add on some extra, either chalas or matzahs. So maybe gavi they nidre nafik or loy nafik.
His friend is still bringing his own 40 loaves.
Friend is bringing the whole thing on its own.
Right.
He has nothing to do with it. And the question is, was he yaitza his chiyuv, not this armanadiv? Is he yaitza his chiyuv when he said, "I'm going to bring either chametz or matzah," and he brings seir? Is it a berya b'fnei atzmei that he's yaitza? And we're talking about, like we said, according to Rabbi Yehuda's seir, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, because in either case, otherwise it would certainly be clear that it's either chametz or matzah. And that's the question of whether it's he's yaitza or not. Zok the Mishnah, very similar type of question.
We even the maybe gavra we left go.
So maybe gavra yedei nidrei nafik or loy nafik. Was he yaitza his chiyuv or not? Teiku. The Gemara says it remains a question. It's not clear.
I mean, the second guy we're asking.
The second guy, whether it's considered to be chametz or matzah. Do we say it's a berya b'fnei atzmai, therefore he's not yaitza? Or do we say it's either chametz or matzah, and therefore he was yaitza his chiyuv with this seir?
Got it.
Same conclusion, which was the question that we had originally. And now another very similar type of question. Kasher b'para pasol be'egla. Kasher be'egla pasol b'para. This is talking about the para aduma and the egla arufa. The para aduma, you take a red cow, and you shecht it. It needs shchita, and then you burn it, and you use the offer to be mitar people. The egla arufa is when a corpse, someone who was killed is found in between cities. You go out and you measure, and the zkanim of the nearest city take a calf, and they cut its head off. They split its head with an axe, and then they say Yadav lo shavachas dam hazeh, and that's how they get a kapara for this mace. So Zok the Gemara. So what the Mishnah says, what's kosher for a par is possible for egla, and what's kosher for egla is possible for par. Tanaraban. Gemara is going to explain what that is. Para b'shchita kshera ba'arifa psula. The para aduma needs shchita, and if you try to split its head like you do with the egla arufa, then it's going to be possible. Egla ba'arifa kshera b'shchita psula, and the egla needs bedafa. It's called the egla arufa, that it gets split. That it gets killed with getting hit with a whatever it is, an axe. So that's the only way to do an egla arufa. If you do a shchita on its neck, it's going to be possible. Nimtzis kasher b'para possible b'egla, kasher b'egla possible b'para. Frekting marva the hey para ksheira b'arifa mikal v'chaymer. Why don't I say that a para aduma could also do arifa? Uma egla shali hukshur b'shchita hukshur b'arifa. If the egla, which bedafka needs arifa, it's not kosher with shchita, it's kosher arifa. Para shehukshur b'shchita, anything shehukshur b'arifa. Certainly, the para, which is kosher b'shchita, which doesn't work for egla arufa, should be kosher b'arifa. The Gemara Amakrav shachat v'chuka. The Torah says about the egla aruf, the para aduma, as we all know, we all learned this when we were learning the parsha, right? It's called The para aduma is famously called a chukah, a chayk, what do you call it? A decree. The Baruch Shalom decreed so, and that's the way it is, without any cheshbainis. So we say, since it says chukah, b'shchita im ba'arifa loy. So it tells you that the paraduma can only be done b'shchita. Since the Torah calls it a chukah, that limits it. You can't make any kavachaymer to say it should also be ba'arifa. Since the Torah calls it a chayk, it has to be done precisely as decreed. Is this really true that whenever we have something called a chayk, you can't learn out additional dinim from it, from a kal v'chaymer? The the two seirim, echad laShem ve'echad laZazel, is also called a chayk. Torah says, "V'hoisel zois lachem l'chukas oil l'mechaper al bnei Yisrael mikol chayatim asher b'shana yaseh." That's what it's talking about. These seirim. Betanya, and we learned in the Brayso, "V'sau chatas hagoyel also chatas vein Hashem also chatas." We learn out from a pasuk that you bedafka have to have a goyrel to say which one is laShem and which one is laZazel. But you can't just make a donation, or you can't make a hekdesh and say this one I want to be laShem and this one laZazel. It's not sufficient. You must have a goyrel. Sheyachol, because I would have thought we need this pasuk to tell you that it's only done al yedei goyrel. On other types of karbanis, where you have to bring a pair. For example, a yeledes has to bring a pair. I think oila v'yared, we said you have to bring two oila and a chatas of birds if he brings eifus. And you do that just by declaring them which one is the oila and which one is the chatas. I would think over here, since we know that there is such a concept of a mekadesh by giving it a shame, so certainly over here where we allow you to use a girl, you could also be mekadesh a shame. That's what we need a pasuk to tell you. A girl is a chatas vein Hashem is a chatas. And the Gemara says, "Time of the kasher rachmana v'so chatas alav ha'chidashin kal v'chaymer." But you see that we need a pasuk because otherwise we would have said a kal v'chaymer. But this is called chukah. And according to the cloud that we said that whenever it says chukah, you don't say a kal v'chaymer. So why would we need a pasuk over here to tell you that you can only use a gyral? So the Gemara says, so it's incorrect what we said before. It's not because of chukah. That's not the reason why by that you could only do the paraduma with shchita and not with harufa. It's because mirachmana gabe yegla harufa zois barifa vein acheres barifa. Torah says zois ha'arufa. The pasuk says this is the chol ziknei yir hahi krayven elachol yirchatzu al yidayim al ha'agala on ha'agala. It should say al egla. Why say al ha'agala the egla arufa? It's coming to tell you this is the only one that's arufa that has this din that it gets its head split, but no other animal, no other carbon, no other avoida includes the din of arifa. So that's why how we know that by a paraduma there's no arifa. Now they're going to ask the other way around. But hey, egla ksher b'shchita mikal v'chayim and bar partially huksher b'arifa ksher b'shchita egla ksher b'arifa and the din shehuksher b'shchita. Let's say a kal v'chayim that certainly the arifa, the egla arufa should be able to be done with shchita because the paraduma, which can't be done by arifa, is done b'shchita. So Amar Krav v'arfu ha'agala b'arifa in b'shchita lay. The Torah says v'arfu ha'agala. That tells you that it's only b'arifa. There's no possibility of shchita. Zok the Mishnah. Kosher b'kayhanim pasal b'leviim. Kosher b'leviim pasal b'kayhanim. The Gemara is going to explain. This is talking about the standards of what makes a kayin pasal, which is going to be whether he has a mum or not. That's not going to be relevant for Levium. And what's relevant for Levium is the age between 30 and 50. They're kosher to do the avodas Levium is irrelevant for Kehanim. They can do their avodah before that and after that time. So Gemara, Tana Rabban, Kehanim b'mum and psulim b'shanim ksherim. Kehanim are going to be apostle if they're balmum, but the years, the age is not going to apostle them. Leviim b'mum and ksherim b'shanim psulim. Leviim, it's the other way around. The mum does not stop them from doing their avodah, but if they're outside of the years that the Torah dictates, they're going to be possible. Nimsa kasher b'kehanim possible Leviim possible b'kehanim, like we said in our Mishnah. Minani mili, where did this come from? The Tanur Rabbanan, Zois Hashel Leviim. Ma Talmud Laimer. What does it say? Zois Hashel Leviim. This is to Leviim. Levisha Nemam mi ben chamishim shan liyishav Yashuv, because the Torah says about the Leviim, when they turn 50, they go back and they don't do the avodah anymore. Lemanu Leviim shashanim paislim b'hem. That teaches that the years, the age, passel them. Yachol mum and paislim lahen. I would think, let's say that a mum should also passel pasal Leviim v'dinu from a kal v'chaymer. U'makei she'ena shonim paisim behem mum paisim behem of kehanim, that the age does not passel them from doing avodah. The moment a mum passels them Leviim she'ashonim paisim behem any din she'yu mumim paisim behem Leviim, that they have to be the requisite age in order to do the avodah. And if not, they're passel. Certainly, mumim should passel them. Only the only requirement is the age and nothing else. Maybe I would say the other way around. The kehanim should be passel with if they're outside of the proper years. They're under 30 and above 50. Leviim, then a mum doesn't passel by them. Shanim paisel mehem, the years passel them. Kehanim shamum paisel mehem in a din. She shanim paisel mehem. Tamalem ashel Leviim v'lo yashel lekehanim. We learn from a drasha. It says ashel Leviim, which restricts it only to Leviim and not to kehanim. Yachal af b'shila v'selam kain. I might say this restriction on the Leviim, they can only do the avodah when they're the proper age. Maybe that's not just in the Mishkan in the Midbar. Maybe it continues even when the Yidden came to Eretz Yisrael and they have the Mishkan and Chilai and they have the Beis Hamikdash. Because in the Midbar they were carrying the Mishkan, so they had to be the proper age to do that avodah. But it's not that age is not required once they came to Eretz Yisrael and the Leviim were just opening the gates and singing. Talmud Loim avodah masa, to do the avodah of the work and the avodah of masa and the avodah of carrying. It's only when they're doing the avodah masa that this requirement that they have to be the proper age. It's only when they're actually carrying, which was in the midbar. Once they came to Eretz Yisrael, that was bottled. They no longer had to carry things around. One pasuk says when the Leviim were 25 years old, then they could start doing avodah. The other one says 30 years. What are you supposed to do? It says both 25 and 30, which is the correct one. So at 25, they start being taught how to do the avodah, and they start actually doing the avodah when they're 30. So we see if someone spends 5 years trying to learn something and he's not matzliach, at that point it takes 5 years to learn something. If you don't learn it in that time, you should move on to something else. Rabbi Yossi says no, it's not 5 years, it's 3 years. Shene'emar ulegadlam shneim shanim shalish. It's talking about these bachrim that were taken in the time of Daniel to learn kazdim, to be taken by the melech to be trained to work in his court, and they had to spend 5 years learning the language. Like it says in the pasuk, it took 3 years they brought them up, to learn the niceties, what they need to know, and to learn the language. So you see from there, it takes 3 years. The other man who said 5 years, he says over there, it's because it only said 3 years, because Lashon Kazdim is easy to learn. It's much easier to learn than what the Levium learned. The other man will say, no, although it took 3 years over there, but the Hilchas Avodah, learning Avodah is more difficult. So that's why it took 5 years, but really a normal thing only takes 3 years to learn. Okay, we'll stop over here and we'll continue with Hashem tomorrow I imagine at 10 to 8. We'll do the same schedule as today.
Yes, correct.
Okay, have a wonderful day.